And welcome back for Volume 5 of Chadley's tutorial guide for Fortnite. Now this one is going to be more geared for the Save the World people, because a lot of these things aren't available to Battle Royale. I'll be going over Battle Royale's traps later on, but for now this is Save the World traps, just a basic how-to guide of number one, crafting them, and number two, the basic use of them and the various trap tunnels you can use. So, this is commonly known as a timeout room. Okay? So what you're looking at here is you put in these little small walls to force everything to walk close to this wall. This is a wall launcher. It's going to hit them, push them into this corner. All of this will discharge. Generally speaking, everything will be murdered.
Your progress will be saved automatically.
Larger things like smashers might survive and go through more than one chamber, but most things will only make it through the first couple of chambers. Now, as you'll see, I've got a various groupings of traps here, and I'm going to explain real quick why. I've seen the wooden floor spikes used on this particular portion because they don't have a reload speed, so as stuff is walking, it's basically a consistent form of damage instead of the large damage from the floor spikes and then the reload speed. I have seen the floor spikes used just for the bigger punch of damage, so those are a couple of different options. Okay, I have seen retractable floor spikes in here so that when stuff gets kicked, once again, it's a larger quantity of damage. I have seen wall dynamos as the wall traps here. I've also seen wall darts commonly used. Now, it doesn't make sense to use things like wall spikes, because unless you're expecting things to try to just start punching their way through that wall, the wall spikes wouldn't do you any good. And then the most commonly used one in here is the ceiling electric field, because it has a 3x3 targeting radius. So anything walking in here will still get zapped by that. So that trap gets used constantly, even if this has already gone off and it hasn't reloaded yet. Now out here, most commonly I see ceiling gas traps, and that is because it is an AoE damage, so as soon as it goes off, anything that's walking through is going to start taking that constant damage. There is no reload speed in terms of that. It'll just discharge, and the effect is continuous for a pretty good amount of time, and then it dissipates and has to fire again, but once again, AoE damage so constant. And then the other thing I've seen used over here is the floor freeze trap. Things will get kicked over, frozen in place, and it gives this stuff time to work on it. That is where I've seen some people use the ceiling. So it gets kicked over, takes these three, and just works on it and works on it and works on it and works on it. And you can just repeat this structure over and over and over again. It's just a wall this direction, floor all the way across, and then a little box. And just like we did in the wall tutorial, just edit everything out except for these bottom two corners to get these. And then the other advantage to those little things, once something has been kicked into the last chamber, if it makes it that far, it has to walk all the way back around, so you're buying yourself some time. So that's the basic structure of a timeout box. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to break this down because I want to get the materials back for some of these traps. We're in Challenge the Horde, the fort build, because I can take a few seconds here and do extra stuff that I can't do other places. And we're going to go over crafting as well, because I've actually had a few different people ask me, how do you craft traps? Which I found to be baffling, but nonetheless, we're gonna go over that. So, as you can see, I've got a very sparse selection of traps in this so far. This is going to be the next version of just a kill tunnel. Alright, now what you're going to do to craft traps, you use your touchpad, your large touchpad, and you come into your inventory. Now usually you're going to come in, this is the first thing you're going to see. You push R2 to get to the trap portion, and then highlighted on the left, you'll see all the available traps I can make. On the left of that menu, you'll see under crafting, various pictures. This is the different things that you need to make your trap. So to make one ceiling electric field, I need 10 nuts and bolts, 3 rough ore, okay, that's what that little circular gray thing is, 2 batteries, and then I need 2 mineral powder. Because mine is 3-star, I need the fine grain mineral powder. When you first get the schematic, it'll be rough mineral powder, then simple, then the fine grain, then char, etc., etc. That goes for most traps. Ceiling gas trap, you can see some of the stuff has changed. You need fibrous herbs, you need bacon, and that goes for all of these. Everything has a slightly different creation cost, crafting cost. And all you would do is come in here, pick what you want to make, push X, wait for the few seconds that it takes to craft it, and then it'll show up in your backpack and you can place this wherever. Now we're going to make a couple of these, and a couple of these, and a couple of these, one of these, a couple of these, and we're going to go in here and we're going to kind of outfit this. Now, this concept is if you know stuff is going to be coming from this direction and they can't, say there's a cliff face on this side, they can't go further that way, husks are a little stupid. They will take the easiest route, and in this case, their mind, the easiest route is to come in here, and if you leave it open on the end, most times they'll just walk around. So any traps you place in here will just get tons of time to whoop on them. You do want to put some traps on the inside fence, though, because if you get something like a smasher or something like that, some of them, rather than go around, will just come up and start beating on this wall. Alright? Now, to place traps, you push circle to bring up your building, then you push square. Now, as you'll see, you've got 3 different options here. We're going to start with floor. So these are the different traps that I crafted. So let's just say wooden floor spikes. You would walk over here to an open slot, push R2, that places it. And you'll notice it immediately brings up my next thing. Like, you don't have to go back in and reselect to hit the next kind of trap. But let's say you don't want that particular trap. You push square, you click on the trap that you do want, you place it. All right? If you point yourself at the wall, it'll immediately bring up what your wall options are. All right? Same thing. Once you use those up, it'll actually bring up the remaining trap. Okay? Then I'll revert to the floor. But no, I need ceiling. So you push square again, highlight the ceiling, bring up your ceiling traps. See? Once those are gone, brings up this. Okay? And once again, this is just a basic kill box. Now, if you're expecting them to enter on this side, you're going to want a damage trap here. Something like some wall darts or a dynamo or something of that nature. If this is the exit, you're going to place a wall launcher on the very last space so it kicks stuff back in and forces it to take a little bit more damage before it gets out. All right, take advantage of those wall launchers. They themselves may not do damage, but they can buy you some extra damage. Okay? Now let's say you don't have space for a structure this large. Let's say you've only got a 1x1 to work with. You can work the same thing here. Whichever side would be your entrance, you would put damage traps on those walls. They would enter, immediately start taking damage from all sides, get to here, get pushed back, take some more damage. Okay? And that's just a few of the basic combinations of trap tunnels and traps that I've seen. This is not limited. This is not the only way you can do it. You can do it any way you so fit. If you want to just make a few walls and put a whole bunch of ceiling traps and not even put anything on the floor, you can do that. You want to leave the top open and just do walls and floors, you can do that. Take advantage of what you have. Okay? So there is your basic outline as to how to make a few different basic trap designs. I hope this video comes in handy, and I look forward to seeing your guys' progress. I'll see you all in the storm. Thank you for the support.